Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this documentary review for Crystal Lake Memories. The very long documentary, I don't know exactly how many hours it is, for the Friday the 13th series, obviously. So, 400 minutes, whatever that comes down to as far as hours go. So yeah, I was going to do a Friday the 13th marathon, which I did this weekend, this 4th of July weekend. Unfortunately, if you saw my kerfuffle video that's posted on my channel, you know why it's not posted on here. So go ahead and watch that if you're wondering. But I did for the first time watch the documentary to kind of go along with the series, all 12 films, which is Crystal Lake Memories. The two disc collector's edition here, the complete history of Friday the 13th. So I wanted to come on here and do kind of a review um, of this documentary. So yeah, that's what we're going to do here today. So yeah, so I'd seen they did a similar one of these for the Nightmare on Elm Street series, which I actually own as well. I just recently purchased. I watched it originally on, I believe it was on I think it was on Netflix for a while. Now it's on YouTube somewhere. But I wanted to have the hard copy of it. So I think it's Never Sleep Again, which so it's not as long as this documentary because you got less movies, obviously. But I was very impressed by that. I thought it was great, and so I had a lot of anticipation and there was a lot of hype and things I'd heard about Crystal Lake Memories. And the fact that it's a two disc collector's edition, I had really high hopes. So I kind of put it off for a while to avoid possible disappointment. And I have to say, after watching it, all 400 minutes of it, this documentary absolutely lives up to the hype. I mean, it's a fantastic, the definitive Friday the 13th documentary. So I was very impressed. I was very into it. I really enjoyed it. I watched the documentary through the first six movies last night, July 2nd, and I watched the rest of it today, July 3rd, and wanted to come on here and give my review of it. So, yeah, it's very impressive. You have a lot of people that participated in this documentary from the filmmakers to the directors, the actors, that came back to talk about the movies. I'm trying to think when exactly this came out. I believe it was made in 2013. Um, I don't know if it's listed here. It actually says 2015 on the back here, but I want to feel like it was actually made a few years before that. I guess I'm not exactly sure, but after 2012 anyway, somewhere between there. So, um, but yeah, you got Sean S. Cunningham, Corey Feldman, Robert Englund, Robbie Morgan, Adrian King, Alice Cooper, Wes Craven, Ari Lehman, Betsy Palmer, Frank Mancuso Jr., Kane Hodder, Aaron Gray, John Fury, Amy Steele, Stu Charno, David Kagan, Jennifer Cook, John Robert Dixon, Bonnie Hellman, and many, many more. I'm glad they made this when they did, because unfortunately, at least from what I could tell, three or four, maybe more of the actors or makers of these movies have passed away in the last 6 or 7 years since this came out. So it was good to be able to get their input on on this documentary on these movies. So yeah, I learned a lot watching this. Some things that I didn't know, some things that caused me to do some research. As I said, I'm a fan of documentaries for the most part, especially when it comes to things that I'm interested in, whether it be like history, like U.S. history, election history, presidential history, but especially movie history, and horror history. Of course, is at the top of the list. And this kind of had everything I wanted, and it was so good that I was actually not disappointed, but I was kind of sad when it ended, because which is a good sign for a documentary. I almost wanted more, even though I don't know really what more they could have given me. I just loved it. I loved the fact that it went from the first movie all the way to the remake. Um, it had a nice wrap up at the end. I liked everything with Corey Feldman sort of introducing the documentary around a pretend campfire to the very ending and how that all played out, where he actually put on a mask. Spoiler alert, I guess. Um, yeah, it has bonus features, commentaries with Daniel Farrens, Peter Brack, and Luke Rafalki. Rafalk, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I'm had a few beers in here, but It's just, yeah, it's fabulous. It's just a fabulous documentary. Yeah, I didn't. There's a lot of things I didn't know. I didn't know that Adrienne King actually had a gun put to her head by a stalker. That was interesting. I didn't know that. I forget the actress's name, but in part four, where she's in that raft, that she basically caught hypothermia, and the director wanted to keep going. And Chad White, who played Jason in that movie, basically said, "I'm going to walk unless you stop and get her out of here." So that she can get warmed up and just all kinds of things. And admittedly, the first six movies that they went through, I was a little bit more interested than the last six, although I watched the whole documentary and was really into it. But much like the movies, I have the first six on a higher pedestal, part one through Jason Lives, than I do New Blood through the remake. I mean, they're hit or miss after that, for after part six for me. But I still felt it was really interesting. And the director of part seven, one of the takeaways is I really feel bad for John Carl Buechler, um, because the MPAA really screwed up that movie. I think the New Blood actually might have been one of the better movies if the MPAA didn't get in there and basically ruin it. And part of me wonders if the MPAA and the powers that be in Hollywood, that I mean, it's no secret that the critics never liked the Friday the 13th movies. I can't help but think that subconsciously or consciously, they purposely maybe maybe were a little harsher on these movies towards the late 80s than they needed to be or than they would have otherwise been if it had been a franchise that they liked a little bit more. That's just a personal opinion that I have. Um, like I said, it was so good to see so many of the cast members come back from all of the movies. Really, there was at least a handful from each and every movie of all 12 of them, from the directors to the producers to the stars. I think you got all the final girls to make an appearance at least through the first eight movies. The only exceptions to that were you didn't get Carrie Keegan from part nine, Jason Goes to Hell, or Alexis Doig from Jason X. I wasn't really sure why, so I did some research and found out that it wasn't really the best experience for Carrie Keegan in part nine. I'm not sure about Alexi Doig. She might have just not been able to come back for the documentary, but Carrie Keegan was asked to do a nude scene in the middle of it, I guess, and she really didn't. She said she wouldn't do it at the beginning. There, basically, her and who's the director for Jason Goes to Hell? Oh shoot, the beer's getting to my brain cells here. Marcus, Marcus, somebody. One of you guys can comment down below. I can't remember right now. Um, Marcus. Damn, I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, they kind of had a falling out, and I'm sure she probably didn't want to come back and relive those memories. So, but other than that, all the final girls of the first eight movies were there, plus Laurie from Freddy versus Jason, and then of course the remake, which was just done a few years before this came out, with the gal from the remake who ended up being sort of the final girl, along with the gal that we thought was going to be the final girl, Danielle Panabaker. So it was really good to just kind of to get everybody's thoughts and see everybody come together for this documentary. Like I said, it really is the definitive, ultimate Friday the 13th fan documentary, and I'm really glad that I have this two-disc collector's edition of Crystal Lake Memories. I've also seen I think it was also on Netflix at one time, but also it's on YouTube. His name was Jason, which is another documentary, but it isn't nearly as definitive or great as this one. So I don't really have necessarily a need to buy it or to get it on physical media. This basically has everything I want in the Ultimate Friday the 13th documentary. You know, you get all the guys that play Jason. As I said, luckily this was before Richard Brooker passed away. I think he's the only Jason that's not around anymore, even as of 2022. I'm not exactly sure, but really good stories that were shared, really interesting tidbits, as I said, that I didn't know. And yeah, I was really into it. It was like watching another Friday the 13th movie almost. And my biggest takeaway from it is I really hope they do. I mean, how can you have a Friday the 13th series and only have 12 movies and not do a 13th? I mean, it just seems inevitable that there has to be a 13th movie in the Friday the 13th series. And I think it would be really awesome. They mentioned that at one point of this movie to bring all the final girls back and maybe even a couple of the survivor males as well to all come back and have sort of the definitive 13th movie to take on Jason. I don't know what you'd call it. Friday the 13th Survivors or something. I don't know. I'm too drunk to think about it right now, or too buzzed, I should say, not drunk. Um, but I think that would be really awesome to get at least from the first eight. Well, you couldn't get Adrienne King because she died in the second movie, but to get from parts 2 through 8 all the final girls, most of them had admitted that they probably would come back if it was the right kind of movie. And then maybe you throw in Laurie for from Freddy versus Jason just to get 8, a nice round number. I think that would be awesome, and I would totally sign up. Go to the theater first showing to see that kind of a movie. I hope they can get their asses out of the courts and actually bring this franchise back. Because how do you not have a Friday the 13th movie? And I think they should bring both Derek Mears and Kane Hodder back to do like a dual portrayals of Jason in this movie. I think that would be the definitive movie. Go ahead and comment down below, guys, if you think I'm just drunk off my rocker right now, or if you think that would be a good idea as well, and that you'd sign up for that. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say. Just a fantastic documentary. One of my favorite documentaries that I've watched. This will easily be put on again whenever I'm in the mood for to revisit Friday the 13th. As a documentary, I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. Um, I don't even know why I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10. I really could, but 9.5 out of 10. It's a fantastic documentary for this franchise. I actually think it's a little bit better than the Nightmare on Elm Street one. Not that that one's bad. I'll probably do a review of that one, an individual review, when I get back into that series at some point. I'll probably just do a separate review for Never Sleep Again, that documentary, which I have seen and I really do enjoy it. But to me, this one's even better. So that's my thoughts on this. Go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of Crystal Lake Memories. I was very impressed. Were you? Please like this video and hit the little notification bell down below. And yeah, so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And be sure to subscribe to my channel down below as well so you don't miss any of my great horror content coming up. So thank you for watching. Chars. Happy 4th of July and stay scared. Bye.